Alright, so it is the end of August, and we're going to update what's happening, hopefully not get too much road noise. I wish I had done this about 2 weeks ago because things were looking really good and I've already had to start taking some plants out, but that may have actually been late. But so let's look what's happening. The black cherry tomato was absolutely bananas, crazy, out of control, and so I basically defoliated it. But we had a pretty good fruit set. I got a good bit, and the little cucamelons have kind of wound their way everywhere. They're just starting to produce as well. In the pots here, I got a little bit amaranth going sideways. The sweet potatoes in this pot have not taken off, but I did put them in later. You can see that they're happy and healthy. Everywhere else, I did put in some extra things, like this is a roselle plant, Thai roselle for tea, and they've not been super happy, so obviously this is not the right circumstance for them. I got a new lemon tree that I'd given my mom many years ago, and she gave it back to me, and see it's in this tiny pot, so I'm guessing it needs to be repotted. I cut it way back, took it home, we'll repot that later. This lemon tree is looking pretty happy. The laurel finally starting to get happy and grow, so we'll have some leaves there. And my little seedlings are obviously not getting enough sunlight either because they're just not growing. But we'll talk about not that mess. We have some fruit set on this lemon right here, and talk about the greenhouse that's been very neglected. Pomegranate, not happy as usual. These guys, that is the paprika, actually gave me a pepper the other day. This is another purple pepper. I got one off there. Celery that I held in reserve that's probably happier than its compatriots in the bed. And these are all the seedlings that I've started and need to transplant out. You can see they've already gotten some visitation by the moths, but you know, what can you do? I just sprayed them with BT, so hopefully some of them will make it through. And these are some late cucumbers, coleus, I think some, maybe a melon that I thought I would put in the ground before now, but I haven't. Same thing for this little tomato. It may not make it into the ground. It's starting to struggle. And then we'll talk about, oh, and this little guy. That's ginger and tulsi. And I think only some of my ginger sprouted, but the fact that any of it sprouted makes me feel pretty good. I think I need to fertilize it. It looks kind of green, sort of light green. I'm gonna talk about the bed here. Starting with, I think, this little watermelon. This is obviously not a good spot for a watermelon. It's got one little fruit that it looks like it's about to drop. It's dried up and dying, I think. The green zebra tomato that I put in the ground first, put in the ground longest, is still snaking through there and setting another round of fruit, which is cool. The cucamelons finally got going, and they are starting to really do well. Just give you a little shot there. Cucumber. The black cherries back here, it's basically the same as the other. Had to defoliate, started to get light, but we still got some fruit coming and setting, so that's cool. See the cauliflower I let stay, and it's finally getting chewed up by whatever those are. They seem impervious to neem and BT, but I guess I'll be coming out here again to spray. Peppers, setting. The beans, I think, are all basically spent. They're still getting a little bit burgundy there. These are snake beans, round snake beans. And they were doing really great again about 2 weeks ago, and now they're kind of going over. Purple basil. New Zealand spinach, which we've they'll need, and like once or twice it was getting sprawly and I cut it back and it seems to be going. These are poblano peppers that I started quite late, but looks like we might actually be getting some flowers and maybe fruit set happening not too far off, so maybe I'll actually get some. And then, oh, we're on this way. I've got a Swiss chard that's supposed to do fine in the heat, but it has struggled, and I think probably has also been visited by our groundhog friend. And this is a large leaf basil, which again is kind of struggling back here, but I've cut it back and used it a lot. And then these are the in-ground celeries that I'm pretty sure the groundhog has been visiting. And they also, I think, because it's been dry the last couple of days, we had so much rain and then it dried out. Oh, these are asparagus plants. And yeah, I think I just missed the opportunity to water them, and I should have done that. So I'm gonna give you the hill and then I'll go elsewhere, make a new one. Little ground cherry, all the ground cherries are starting to die off. This one's still kicking. The corn did okay. Had a windstorm that blew it down, and Lane went and got some bamboo stakes for me and staked on us while we were out of town. And then, oh, we got one corn maybe coming on there, but we've had a lot of visitations either by squirrels or groundhogs and haven't gotten a whole heckin' lot, and the ones we've gotten have been very small. And the beans down here, these are lima beans. I've gotten a little bit off of them, but not even enough for feed. I'll figure out the mystery of lima beans one day soon. And then the strawberries somehow are setting fruit again. I thought these were June bearing, but they're apparently ever bearing. We're getting another set, a little bit, not a lot, a little bit. Blueberry, struggling, but hanging on. It may get moved before the spring, and I'll do another one soon.